Can the exact day of Jesus' crucifixion be predicted using only scripture and math? The answer is yes. Daniel 9 gives a prophetic stopwatch. History tells exactly when the decree to rebuild Jerusalem was issued, and astronomy confirms the Passover fell in the year Jesus died. When you put those three together, scripture, history, and the heavens, you end up with a countdown that lands precisely on the week Messiah was presented as prince and then crucified just after, exactly as Daniel 9:25 to 26 said centuries in advance. Now open with me to Daniel 9:25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. Notice the flow here. The starting point is highlighted in yellow, the decree to rebuild Jerusalem. The end point, highlighted in green, is a presentation of Messiah the Prince. And the very next verse, Daniel 9:26, marks what comes afterwards. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. That's the crucifixion, and I've put that in red. This shows us the structure. The prophecy's terminus, which is the finish line of the 69 weeks, is Messiah's presentation as prince. Only after that terminus does a crucifixion happen. So the task is clear. Find the decree in yellow, measure forward to the presentation in green, and then recognize that the crucifixion in red comes just beyond. But before we run the numbers, God already gave us the prophetic template in Exodus that explains the sequence. Let's go there next. Before we run the math in Daniel, let's look at the prophetic calendar God already laid down in Exodus 12, verses 2 through 6. Verse 2 says, "This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you." This is Nisan 1, the official start of God's sacred calendar. I've marked it in yellow because this is where God himself says, start the count here. It's not man's choice. God set the clock to begin with Nisan 1. Verse 3, in the 10th day of this month shall they take to them every man a lamb. This is Nisan 10, when the lamb is chosen and presented to the people. I've marked it in green because this is the day of life when the lamb steps forward publicly. Verse 5 adds, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. This is crucial because it shows the lamb had to be flawless and sinless. Jesus fulfilled this perfectly, examined, tested, questioned by rulers and police, yet declared innocent. We see in John 18:38 where it says, I find no fault in him at all. And finally, verse 6, ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall unalive it in the evening. This is Nisan 14, the lamb slain. I've marked that in red. Now watch how this matches Daniel 9. The starting point in yellow, the commandment goes forward to restore and build Jerusalem, the terminus in green unto Messiah the Prince, the presentation of the Lamb, and afterward in red, Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. The exact three stages Exodus gave us, beginning, presentation, sacrifice, line up perfectly with Daniel's prophecy and with the ministry of Jesus Christ. Now let's prove beyond question the day Jesus died. The Gospels all agree his crucifixion took place on the day of preparation, the day before the Sabbath. Mark 15:42, Luke 23:54, John 19:14 all affirm this. Those three witnesses say the exact same thing. Jesus died on Friday, the day of preparation, before the Sabbath began. And John is even more specific. It was the preparation of the Passover, meaning the very day the lambs were slain, Nisan 14, exactly as commanded in Exodus 12, verse 6. So by scripture alone, it's airtight. Jesus was crucified on Friday, Nisan 14, the day of Passover sacrifice. Now, just to show you how this aligns with real-world history, scholars have reconstructed the Jewish calendar by calculating the timing of the new moons in those years. Here's a chart based on that research. Look at the far right column, the deduced date of Nisan 14. And the years of Pontius Pilate, it only falls on Friday in AD 30, April 7th, and AD 33, April 3rd. Every other year is disqualified. So both scripture and astronomy agree Jesus died on Friday, Nisan 14. The only question left is whether it was AD 30 or AD 33. To answer that, we have to go back to Daniel's stopwatch and the decree in Nehemiah 2. So we've proven Jesus died on Friday, Nisan 14, but Daniel told us exactly when the countdown began. So let's get back to the starting point, the decree itself. In Daniel 9:25, it says, "Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks." That's 7 weeks plus 62 weeks, which equals the 69 weeks. But in prophecy, a week is not 7 days, it's 7 years. We see this pattern in passages like Leviticus 25, where the weeks of years lead to the Jubilee. So 69 weeks of years is 69 times 7, which is 483 prophetic years. That's the countdown Daniel gives us from the decree to the Messiah. The question is, when did that decree go out? We have our answer in Nehemiah 2. Nehemiah 2, verse 1, and then 5 to 8. "And it came to pass in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, and I said unto the king, Send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king granted me according to the good hand of my God upon me." This is the decree Daniel's prophecy rests on. So when was the 20th year of Artaxerxes? Ptolemy and Wikipedia both confirm his reign began in 465 BC. And here's the key. Whether you count it from August 465 or December 465, the result is the same. By the time you move forward 20 regnal years, Nisan 44 BC falls in the 20th year of his reign. That means year 1 is late 465 to 464 BC, and year 20 is late 445 to 444 BC. So Nehemiah's decree was issued in Nisan 444 BC. That's the official starting point for Daniel's 483-year prophetic countdown, which is 360 days per year. And here's why this matters. If you try to end the countdown in 30 AD, the numbers don't work. It falls short of 483 prophetic years or 476 Julian years. But when you carry it forward, it lands perfectly in AD 33. Exodus 12:2, that we went to earlier, also tells us that Nisan 1 was the official beginning of months, which means it's very likely the decree was issued right at the start of that sacred month on Nisan 1. And astronomers have calculated that Nisan 1 fell on March 5th of 444 BC. So the decree Daniel spoke of was not vague or hidden. It was a real moment in history, Nisan 1, March 5th, 444 BC. That's when the stopwatch began. Now the question is, when do we run this stopwatch forward 483 years? Does it land exactly on the Messiah? Okay, we have our start on Nisan 1, March 5th of 444 BC. Now the question is, does Daniel's countdown land on the very day the Lamb is presented? Exodus 12:3 said the Lamb is chosen on Nisan 10. That was our green marker. In the Gospels, Jesus allows public proclamation of his kingship one day only, the entry into Jerusalem. We know that as the triumphal entry. John 12:13 says, "On the next day, much people took branches of palm trees and cried, Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel." Luke 19:38 says, "Blessed be the King that cometh in the name of the Lord." And then Zechariah 9:9 says, "Behold, thy king cometh unto thee, lowly and riding upon a quote-unquote donkey." This is the presentation of Messiah the Prince, Nisan 10, the end date of the 69-week prophecy. Now, because we've already shown the year is 33 AD, we simply check where Nisan 10 falls in that year. Astronomically, Nisan 10 in AD 33 aligns with March 30th. 4 days later is Nisan 14. The crucifixion we already established was on a Friday. The sequence matches Exodus perfectly, Nisan 1 being the start, Nisan 10 being the presentation of the Lamb, Nisan 14 being the slaying of the Lamb. So here is the claim we can now test with the math in the next step. The start being March 5th, 444 BC, Nisan 1, the presentation being March 30th AD, Nisan 10, and the crucifixion being Friday, April 3rd, AD 33, Nisan 14. Next, we'll run the 483-year count and show it lands exactly here. No forcing, no cherry picking, just Scripture's stopwatch meeting the calendar. Now, to make this prophecy airtight, we have to break it down the way Daniel gave it into days. Daniel 9:25 says, "From the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks." That's 69 weeks, but a prophetic year is 7 years. So it's 69 times 7 equals 483 years. But God measured the years prophetically, not Julian years. And a prophetic year in Scripture is always 360 days long. Genesis 7 and Revelation 12 confirm this. So 483 times 360 equals 173,880 days. That's the length of Daniel's stopwatch, 173,880 days from the decree to Messiah the Prince, this terminus or end dates. Now let's check the math with an actual calendar. The start date would be March 5th of 444 BC, which was Nisan 1, and the decree to rebuild. The end date would be March 30th, 33 AD at Nisan 10, which was the triumphal entry. When we measure that span, it comes out to 173,884 days. But you probably noticed the calendar calculator gave us 4 extra days. But Daniel's stopwatch was 173,880 days. The question is, why the gap? The answer is simple. Our man-made calendar drifts. The Julian calendar assumes a year is 365.25 days, but the actual solar year is slightly shorter, about 365.2422 days. That difference of just 11 minutes per year may not sound like much, but over 476 years, it adds up to about 3.7 days, which means the calendar is running a little long, not God's prophecy. So if you take those extra days off the drift of 173,884, you land right on 173,880 days, exactly what Daniel said. This shows us something amazing. Daniel's prophecy wasn't general, it was laser precise, counting down day by day from the decree to the exact day Messiah was presented, and gives us an affirmative of Nisan 14th, April 3rd, 33 AD as the exact day of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And Daniel's prophecy was for 70 weeks, 490 years. We've just seen the first 69 weeks, 483 years, 173,880 days, fulfilled to the very day when Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey and was crucified. But that leaves 1 week still unfulfilled, the 70th week, a final 7-year period the Bible calls the tribulation. If God was this precise in the past, you can be sure he will be just as exact in the future. And here's what that tells us. Jesus is not just a man fulfilling coincidences. Who else but God in the flesh could declare the exact day of his coming 6 centuries before it happened, and then step into human history and fulfill it himself? This prophecy doesn't just prove the Bible is true, it proves Jesus is God. And if he fulfilled Daniel's timeline with such precision, then the clock is still ticking. The 70th week is coming. And just like before, God's will be fulfilled exactly as he said.